absolutely loaded show tonight, boys. We are going to talk about
what'd you just crack
coaching
open?
hires. Oh, wait for
don't
it.
you worry.
Yeah, don't get out of sequence here. Don't get out of sequence. We are going to talk about coaching hires. The Dolphins picked ones. The Saints just picked one. The Texans picked one. We're going to get into that. No name coach. We got a bunch of Super Bowl props. And on the back end, we're probably going to get into a little bit of hockey. And I'm sorry, Chad, but we had to do it. And then there's going to be a little bit of college football, I think, towards the very, very end. But boys, before we dive in here, how we feeling?
Well, I got a new mic, so I'm like a whole new man.
Hey,
I got headphones at work. I look super professional. We're just taking this shit next level.
Gotta do it.
And like I came a long way. I was sitting on the floor about a year ago. You know, as Drake said, we started from the bottom. Now we're here, and I have a mic, so we're getting better.
I like it.
I just want to add in though, like I worked at Shoppers Drug Mart as a teenager, and it was not that cool like it was for him in that music video. I just want to put that out there anyway. So all the young kids listening to us, getting a job at Shoppers Drug Mart, you will not be as cool as Drake.
Hey, that's fair enough.
They need to put a disclaimer on their application.
Yeah, and I'm good to be back. Had to miss the last episode there, and tend to the family, and here we are, and a great weekend of Pro Bowl and NHL All-Star game. I had some fun. I don't know if you guys enjoyed anything what you saw this weekend, but I had some fun.
That Pro Bowl was dog shit.
My absolute favorite part of the Pro Bowl was when Chad lost, and now we got a 3-way tie at the top, and we're gonna get into that a little bit later on. But Chad, I gotta tell, like, I know as much as you're gonna protest we gave Kalen the opportunity to get back-to-back weeks to get back into this thing. Your playoff picks have sucked. Like,
honestly,
I'm not sure if you have one right yet. I gotta tell you.
I was talking about that on the phone today with my buddy, and he was like, "So, like, how's your thing going?" I was like, "Man, the worst part is I made the scoring, but I was like, in the divisional round, I didn't get one right. Like, I made the joke last week about hitting a participation ribbon to Kalen, but then I shit the bed again.
That's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I already know how this game's gonna go. Like I know he's taking the Bengals. He cannot not take the Bengals. And at the end of the day, like I'm not gonna pick the Bengals so that you and I can run into the water holding hands. So I'm gonna go Rams because I already know you're going Bengals. One of us have to win this thing.
I have some ideas though, so that we can make sure that
Shane's just always full of the ideas, eh?
We're not gonna end up tied. So I think that we either need to decide whether you guys are going to pick the exact score or if you're going to pick the team to win, an over-under, and then a miscellaneous prop off of our friends at CoolBet. And that could be, all three of you guys make that pick. The odds that you all end up tied at that point is very slim. So think that over because we definitely got to circle back to that a little bit later on.
It'd be real good if it was Rick and Chad, though, man. Quite the comeback I've had there. You guys get tied, a couple of seals going in the water there.
First off, leave fucking baby Shamu and me out of this. We fucking wave it to the crowd, wave my little wing.
Love it.
Yeah. Well, we should get on to a couple head coaching conversations here. But before I do, I'm going to take a big, delicious swig of my pink lemonade Bangarang, which I got to tell you, I'm pretty addicted to this right now. I'm not sure if it's okay for me to come on here and say that I'm addicted to an alcoholic beverage, but I'm going to say it anyway because I can't get enough of these things. I mean, I'm not saying that the other flavors aren't as good, but man, I might have to go. I was telling the boys before we came on, I might have to go ahead and put this thing on the tap. We got a wide open tap here. They put this thing in kegs. I think that's a winner.
I'm about the blue raspberry, and I talked about it before. This thing reminds you of when you're at the arena after a hockey game, and I got a goal for once the first time of the season, which only ever happened once a year usually. But I got a blue slushy, and that's what this bad boy tastes like.
No, it probably should only happen once a season that you get your first goal of the season. But I'm not, I don't want to completely bury you on that one. It looks like Kalen was drinking the mango one. He's got it all over his face.
That's a ginger joke in case you guys didn't catch that.
Which is terrible because like mine's ginger too. It's just a little bit darker. But
No, you've been firing those missiles since I was like 15, 16 years old. You've had that fiery red beard too the whole time. It's the worst.
You've had pubes on your chin since you were 15 years old.
Oh,
Ginger ones?
yeah,
No.
worse.
No.
Oh.
And I'm
It
just
was worse
talking
before.
my hair back then, man. It was huge, big old red.
Yeah. Like our old high school football coach Kaz, he would call him Hyde from that 70s show. But yeah, I mean, let's go into some of these head coaching hires because I got to tell you, none of these things are blowing me away. The Dolphins decided to go ahead and hire this guy from the 49ers, McDowell.
Is it Mike McDaniel?
Whatever. I think that he just decided to recently go through puberty from what I heard.
He is young.
Probably works out for the 49ers, not in the sense that they're losing their offensive coordinator, which obviously isn't going to help them, but because of the rules throughout football right now, the 49ers are going to get 2 third-round picks out of this because, the diversity hire, great, perfect, awesome. Not sure why this hire is better than what they had, but we can circle back to it. Another hire, Doug Peterson has said that he has come to terms with the idea of coaching Trevor Lawrence. Tons of things to unpack there. I don't really understand how you come to terms with coaching the best quarterback prospect
since Andrew Luck.
Yeah, so I mean, in a decade. And then today, Lovie Smith gets the nod from Houston. I mean, the guy's coached everywhere, never been successful. He coached, I guess, as a head coach most recently at Illinois Fighting Illini. He's got a pretty electric beard if we're talking about beard colors. That would be the standout. That's how I would recognize Lovie Smith. And then Dennis Allen, who, correct me if I'm wrong, and you guys might know this already, has he not already had a stint as the coach of the Saints?
He was the intern when Peyton was COVIDed. 1-9, not COVID.
But I'm going all the way back to think of Aaron Brooks' time. I think Dennis Allen was a coach of the Saints back years ago.
Ooh, I'll do some digging while we're talking about it.
Yeah, you can look that one up, Kalen. You can be stat guy for a second.
Yeah, Liam walked away for a sec, but that's not really the hire that stands out to me. Any of these catch your eye? I mean, Doug Peterson, I guess, has an offensive mind, but
the Doug Peterson one makes sense. You had to bring in a quarterback guy for Trevor Lawrence. If you have any hopes of trying to re-sign that guy in 4 years now, and you're getting him in that way, that's the only way it's going to happen is if you can get a coach that's actually going to see him grow. Outside of that, I do like the Miami hire, the guy from San Francisco, McMichael. He's being groomed from Kyle Shanahan, offensive mind, young quarterback. And so, I think him with Tua could really work out. But the other two, the Lovie Smith hire, that guy's just been fired from everywhere he's been. But right now, it's such a Houston thing to do. Your team's dog shit, and there's probably no one else that wanted that job. So it's easier just to have a coach who you can fire in 2 years and blame the coach as you try to get this program and get some draft picks back. No good coach is going to take that job.
Right.
So Dennis Allen, no, Oakland only.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, back in the day. I do like the Mike McDaniel hire personally. I think that he has that crazy offensive mind. I know that he was very fortunate to have a player like Deebo Samuel on his roster that he could utilize a lot of. There was another hire today but I'm tying it into this a little bit. I only found out there was a passing game coordinator in San Francisco today, reading an article because of who the Titans hired today for a passing game coordinator. And so that does kind of worry me because it means that this kid who's already young that we know came from an offense that was probably ran through by Shanahan. Everything was coming through him. And they had a passing game coordinator there who was doing probably some of the heavy lifting. What I learned about what a passing, there's only 14 teams in the NFL that do it, and they're all top end teams. I'm glad that Titans finally joined that bunch. But the run game we know was great in San Francisco, and that is pure Shanahan. Shanahan has always been a great run game player, right, or run game coach, right down to his dad. So I'm a little bit worried about what is Mike McDaniel going to bring and be able to help Tua in the passing game with. But of the coaching hires so far, that's one of the ones that I really enjoy. And then come back to the Doug Peterson one, I think I'm going to really enjoy that one too. I think in the grand scheme of things, I think that's going to be a good thing for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I guess with the names that were floated out there, I would say that these 4 that we're talking about are the least overwhelming. I mean, they're not going to get a lot of media cover. Naturally, it's the week of the Super Bowl, so I don't think a lot of people really care too much, but not many people know about this guy from the 49ers, except for that press conference that he had a few weeks ago. If it wasn't for that, I think if you asked who the offensive coordinator for the 49ers was, you'd probably say Kyle Shanahan. Yeah. As much as he was the head coach, he was also the OC. And Doug Peterson's been out of football for a little while, and the guy he won a Super Bowl, so he's not a nobody, but maybe the Eagles gave up on him a little bit too quick. Now, this Patriots offense. Go ahead.
I was going to say one that I'm not in love with, that I'm not head over, is the Kevin O'Connell hire in Minnesota. They already had a team that was already good offensively. They were already putting up numbers every single week, big numbers every single week. Their biggest detriment was the fact that now they're running into a salary cap problem, big one, and their defense is aging. Everybody that's on that team that's any good is getting the other side of 30 right now, and they're all the problem. The team or the players that need to be cut or are coming up on year-end contracts right now. So I'm not excited about that hire in the immediate. In the long run, maybe it's really cool that Justin Jefferson has his player. I don't think that Kirk Cousins is going to stick around long term there, and that's the franchise's choice. But I'm worried about that one immediately. Not going to look good.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked a touch about the Minnesota hire on Thursday because I think it happened either while we were on or just before we went on, and we talked a little bit more about why they didn't hire Harbaugh as opposed to why they did hire O'Connell. But 2 disgraced former Patriots or coaches are in the mix here for this offensive coordinator job for the Patriots, which you wouldn't think is a highly touted role, but you look at this role kind of the same way that you would look at the way that Nick Saban brings guys over to Alabama to try and revitalize their career. And I don't think I was surprised by the Bill O'Brien thing. I think that makes a lot of sense. But are you surprised to think that Adam Gase might be the offensive coordinator for the Patriots?
I'm going to say
he can't lose a game.
It's not going to go on shoulders, is what you're saying.
Well, Belichick will veto anything, and that's kind of, I think, what we've learned as time's gone on lately is that all these guys leave Belichick's system, and a lot of them fail miserably. And I think a lot of them are great coordinators, but is that because Belichick's vetoing any bad decision they make? Because at the end of the day, a head coach has the right to say yes or no to any play call on offense or defense and special teams. And you can say what you want to say and call what you want to call, but there's a guy looking right down at you that's going to say yes or no. Yeah. So bringing a guy like Gase back, he's a great offensive mind. He was really good in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers makes a lot of people look good.
Right.
But yeah, no, I think it's one of those things. But back then it was Mike McCarthy, and same kind of deal. Mike McCarthy was an offensive mind. And he could veto anything that Gase did that he didn't like. And then so now you're putting a leash on a guy like Adam Gase. Always fucking sucks anyways. But I don't really care if I say his name right. He doesn't deserve it. But yeah, there's going to be a coach there that can say yes or no. So he's going to be monitored. He's going to be patrolled. But yeah, he has a great offensive mind.
So I just want to make sure he didn't actually coach ever in Green Bay. He was Denver. Remember, his whole mantra was that he was really, really good as an offensive coordinator.
I'm thinking of Philbin.
Yeah.
My bad.
So yeah, he was with Denver. Got his whole regime known from that. Got pulled out to being an offensive coordinator for the Bears for a year, and then from that leapt into the head coaching world. And to me, you don't bring anything. You never, and right. He's never even actually. I didn't even know when was he with Bill Belichick, because I don't even know that he was lined up with them at all. I think to him come back. I don't. It may be because of the division that they're familiar because the Dolphins and the Jets and they cross paths quite a bit of times that way. Bill O'Brien, like that makes sense, completely makes sense. But yeah, the Adam Gase one, like, what have you given me? Like it was the same offense that Peyton Manning ran when he was in Indianapolis with a little bit better of a run game. Like it wasn't him. It wasn't on his shoulders to make those calls. And the guy was calling 3 plays at the line and then checking into one of those 3 plays. So there's like 15 plays to choose from. You're giving him 3 of the 15 and he's going out there and making the final decision. I don't understand it. This, to me, it is for a guy, if you want to grow your offensive resume as a coordinator, this is a position that I think allows you to do that because Bill, you're right, he's going to veto some things, but he certainly gives some leniency to the offense. The guy is focused on the special teams and the defensive side of the ball. He's going to let you prove to him that he doesn't have to watch you, I feel. But like if you have 2 tight end sets, like they got 2 very talented tight ends there. They got 2 very good running backs there. They have an okay offensive line, which can get stronger in the draft. They don't have an aging defense. They have a pretty decent defense. So they can score some points and win some games and keep it easy, right? You don't have to have very complicated concepts when everything's going to be in the middle of the field to your very talented tight ends. Go back to I hate to say his name, Aaron Hernandez in the Gronkowski days again.
Why you got to hit on Hernandez?
Yeah.
What did he ever do to you?
Well,
man, that guy. Yeah, that guy was killer to cover. How about we transition to a little bit of Homer news?
That's where we're just gonna drop off there.
Well,
Aaron just joking like, hey, you know what? Let's go Steelers.
No, we're actually gonna go Titans. Because the Titans have basically said that they are not interested in Aaron Rodgers, and we're not gonna beat this one to death. But I'm curious on what Kalen thinks of that.
So what was said was that they don't see him as an under the center quarterback, which, to be fair, you haven't seen a whole lot of in the last few years. I mean, he maybe ran some single back before LaFleur got there under McCarthy's system, but not much. I think that people were just trying to connect dots. I mean, it was fun to have that rumor for 24 hours, but George Kittle lives in Nashville in the offseason. There's quite a few people that like to live in Nashville right now. It's cheap. And you don't have to pay taxes there if that's where you claim you live, right? A lot of baseball players used to do that down in Miami.
So you're telling me if Aaron Rodgers put out there saying, "Hey, I want to go to Tennessee," they'd be like, "Nah, not for me."
Well, I mean, there's another side of the thing you have to look at too. I mean, we've said it before. The salary cap is a myth, but we have 4 contracts that can make up $30 million. But if we do anything with Ryan Tannehill right now, unless we trade him, we're looking at a $57 million cap hit. The window's small. I'm not going to say the window's not small here, guys, but like Aaron Rodgers is 37 years old too, so you're going to sign on to him for 1 year or 2 years tops. I don't know.
Tom Brady played to 44.
Yeah, I mean, look, like the Aaron Rodgers thing, it's going to be something that we're going to talk about the entire way through.
And Tampa.
And just one last, as a Titans fan to know this, our last draft class, nobody turned out. Nobody played. Some guys were injured after week 4. We have one guy that played a couple of games. Elijah Molden was the only guy that played the entire season. Everybody else didn't make it past week 4 this year.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Like Aaron Rodgers wouldn't want to play there.
Stop. No, there's no.
No, that's what it sounds like you're saying. So the Steelers, Keith Butler moved on. I believe that he got the Bruce Arians treatment. Not something that we're going to talk about. Not something that you guys give a shit about. But I did tell you that Terrell Austin was going to be the DC, so I put it on the list because I like to brag. Now, other quarterback news, and this is something, and I don't know how much of the college game you've been following recently, Kalen, but Archie Manning, who is the nephew of Peyton and Eli, has now pulled out from his recruitment at Clemson. So he says, no chance I am going to Clemson. And he has this thing down to Ole Miss, where his uncle played and his grandpa played, Georgia and Alabama. So, and Texas.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And Texas hired David Cutcliffe today as a special advisor, who is a very, very close friend of the Manning family.
Interesting. So you think there's a connection there? I mean, this seems like it's Ole Miss's recruit to lose. I mean, you got Lane Kiffin there, who's awesome, and he's a legacy, like a third generation legacy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we do have, one of the other top recruits at quarterback that just transferred to us as well. so we can create quite the pipeline and have a whole lot of good, national coverage here for a few years anyway. And that would, not that he's not going to get it at Ole Miss. He's in the SEC, but
Yeah.
I mean, go to U of T, and in the time when he'd be coming into the SEC too, potentially.
Right.
I don't know how long he'll end up sticking around if he'll make it that long, but yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense. And the David Cutcliffe hire makes a lot of sense. Texas is going all in, man. They've gone all in on coaches 4 times in a row now since Mac Brown left. So
and you're 0 for 3.
Yeah, that's right.
Just remember
that's
that.
right.
Yeah, I think
I'm saying roll Tide on this one.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I think if Nick Saban walks into your house,
so Nick Saban showed up to his basketball game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If Nick Saban shows up to your home, all he has to say is, in your 3 years at our school, you will win a national championship.
Or 2.
Yeah. And you will go to the NFL.
Yeah.
Think of the pipeline of quarterbacks he's put out. They're all in the NFL right now. What more? Bryce Young's going to be in the NFL. And when Bryce leaves, Arch is coming in.
Right.
So to me, there's a no-brainer if I'm a quarterback. I'm going to Alabama. As much as I don't want to say that, I don't ever want to say the words roll Tide. But yeah, I love what Ole Miss does, and I love Lane Kiffin and what he does offensively. But there's no way you're saying no to Nick Saban. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and this next point here might be what dictates things. Not that the Manning family is hurting for cash, but the earnings for 2021 in the NCAA came out in the neighborhood of $1.2 billion, billion with a B. And we still have fans that are curious on this NIL thing and should it be a thing, should it not be a thing? Absolutely, if somebody can make money, they should be able to make their money. And as much as the Manning family might not need the money per se, or Arch Manning might not need the money, this NIL deal at whichever one of these schools is best is going to be what drives him. And when you think of money, you think of places like Texas, but don't forget about places like Texas A&M, who just have absorbent amounts of oil money for some reason.
Ridiculous. It's pumped right into the place, man.
Yeah, and I mean, absolutely absurd. And I don't know what kind of money this guy's going to get. We're looking at 2 years down the road. Sorry, not 3 years down the road. But whatever NIL deal set up is where he's going to end up. And I get what Chad's saying. I mean, he's going to play with a couple first-round receivers, an entire O-line that's getting drafted into the league, and a running back that will 100%
be a day 2 pick at worst.
So, I mean, you're coming in with automatic weapons. You might not get those weapons at Ole Miss. Texas, I mean, it
brings them back to the promised land,
Shane.
Shane. That's a storyline that I can get behind.
Yeah, but I mean, they don't have a tie to Texas. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, the family is from Louisiana and Mississippi, and they're not, it's weird that the Volunteers aren't on this list for Peyton, but
they're just such a horrible.
Well, his dad went to Ole Miss too, so I do see that side. But the thing is, you go to Alabama, Nike's dropping that Brinks truck off on your front door,
right? And that makes the most sense. And I mean, when we talk about Brinks trucks, we talk about our friends over at CoolBet. And I mean, CoolBet Canada has been really good to us. And we got our Super Boost up already early. Normally, we don't put this thing out till the Thursday before the games. This thing was loaded up this morning by our homie Pat. So here we go. We got Cooper Kupp, longest reception over 27.5 yards.
That's one.
Money McPherson, over 6.5 points.
That's 2.
Return of the Mac.
And the game total to stay under 50.5 points. Your return.
I'll take 3.
Yeah, your return on investment, that's paying out at a plus 5.75. So
I think you said 7.5. I was like, yo, I'm going right now.
Yeah, no, we juiced that thing up. So I mean, even you don't want to be a huge bettor, go ahead and throw $25 on there, enjoy the Super Bowl, and then you can cash your $170 ticket once we're done. another just quick bet because we're putting our bet of the night. Jayhawks are going to beat the Texas Longhorns tonight by 1.5 on the road. And then there was the Super Bowl. It is Super Bowl week. We are on our own version of Radio Row. Not typically times that we have 3 shows, but we are going to have 3 shows this week. We have today, we have Thursday, and we have Sunday. Sunday show is going to be action-packed. Kayla, what were you going to say? I saw your hands go up.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, you mentioned tickets, and I love how Chad Johnson still tries to stay relevant in the NFL somehow. I don't know if you saw him tweeting out for the little guy saying, how is the regular guy supposed to afford a ticket to this game? Like, the starting ticket is like 10 grand American. It's ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
It's just terrible.
No.
And then
that's about 40,000 Canadian for anybody that doesn't listen to us from Canada. That's what our dollars at these days.
So our, we talk tickets and we talk about betting tickets. So I found the 2 largest betting tickets for each team in this. So right now there is a bet for $4.5 million for the Bengals to win this thing money line. Mm-hmm. And the largest bet on the Rams is $500K at -4. So, I mean, $500K is still a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, but
do you remember who the $4.5 million is, Shane?
Is it Money Mac?
It's Money Mac, Mattress Mac. That's right.
Oh,
man.
This guy's a stud.
Every year he's got to be the one that probably puts the biggest bet down on the champion. Well, in baseball anyway. He's been doing it in football too, but not nearly as heavy as he has the last 2 years. So awesome.
Look, this line's bounced around a little bit. It opened up, the Rams are 3.5. It went to 4 really quickly. We've had it as high as 4.5. Now,
do you know how much he's lost so far in the playoffs, though?
No.
Same $4.5 million.
I was gonna say about as much as I've lost so far.
So this guy's trying to get even. Now, here's something that I'm gonna blow your mind with. And look, I told you guys I did a little bit of research last night. I'm not this smart. I don't remember this much, but all Super Bowls since 2000, and yes, that includes the Rams and Titans, which was the push. All Super Bowls that were a 4-point spread or greater since 2000. Here's the record. The team that was favored is 2-10-1 in those games. Wow. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to lose the game, but that definitely means that they're not going to cover the spread. And in the last 6, they're 0-6. So, yeah, I mean...
So, Shane, do tell me, who is the favorite in this game?
The Rams.
We got the Rams favored by 4.5 right now. So, I mean, this thing is right in the wheelhouse. This looks like Mattress Mac is making his money back.
Yeah. Joe Burrow is 6-0 when the Bengals are up +3.5 against the spread.
Yeah. Look,
but it's against the spread, Kalen. I didn't say he was going to win, so put your boner away.
Look, I can see you smiling. I have tried to find every reason to bet against the Bengals in this game, and that's why our boost doesn't include a winner. But here's another one that's going to just blow your mind because, like I said, I had too much time on my hands last night, boys. I was watching Suits. I was laying on the couch. I was drinking a Bangarang. And while I was doing that, I found out who the referee was going to be in the game. So the referee is Ron Torbert. Now, there isn't a tie either way, and there wasn't really a whole lot of Rams games. And this guy hasn't called the Bengals game since 2019. So, I mean, we're not really talking about a whole lot of that. However, in Ron Torbert refereed games, the home team is 44-62.
Whoa.
Guess who the home team in this one is? That's the Liam. I'm sorry. I know I'm dropping a whole bunch of bombs on you here, but everything. You
could have fooled me last week in the game though who the home team was.
Yeah, everything that I keep seeing is leading me towards the Bengals and the points, and I'm not sure that I could stomach that bet, but I did find a whole bunch of other ones. But I've just dropped some knowledge on you guys. I want to know how you've digested it. I want to know how we're feeling right now.
I just want to tell Liam I'm sorry because my playoff picks have been horrible, but I'm riding with your boys this week. So
yeah.
I'm riding with the Rams because I got to beat Kalen, and I know he's taking Joe, and I can't tie. That's just uncomfortable for me. I don't. That's a weird thing to do. So I gotta go. It's either you win or you lose. I'm going against Kalen. I made the rules. I made my bet. Got to sleep in it more or less. So I'm going Rams because I know you're going to go Bengals. So Liam, I'm sorry. If they lose, you get a free shot.
Yeah.
You can punch me directly in the chest if they lose.
I can't cheer for the Rams because they took that opportunity away from us last time, man. So I can't do it. And
yeah, you're gonna get Kevin Dyson again. I can't wait.
and
I'm gonna be so happy if that happens. By the way,
stop it. No, Burrow has won in the besides the playoff games are obviously important, but who's played a more meaningful game recently, like a championship? Burrow or Stafford?
Both. They both.
I guess the NFC Championship. Prior to that,
what are we talking about?
Yeah, I just think that Burrow has played more competitive style games recently than Stafford has. Right? Stafford has one solid year. Some of those weren't even competitive games. The playoffs have been competitive, but I think Burrow has just had to pound uphill since even through college. Sometimes had to pound uphill. So I can't take it away from the kid. He's just got the moxie. I keep talking about it.
Yeah, I mean he had to transfer out of Ohio State because of the roadblock there, which is more of an indictment on the Ohio State coaches than it is on Burrow. I mean, I remember when he transferred, and I remember thinking like, well, LSU's going to be good. I didn't think they were going to be that good, nor did I think this guy was going to be the first overall pick or what he's done. But this game. I mean, we have to search for the narrative because there's no Tom Brady, there's no Peyton Manning, there's no Ben Roethlisberger, and the 49ers aren't in it. And this is the first time in 18 years that hasn't happened. But if you look at the two different styles, the way that the teams are built, the Bengals built through the draft, and the Rams do everything that they can to take draft week off. And they trade away.
He doesn't like a nice holiday, Shane.
Yeah, no.
I know you haven't had one in like 10 years because you don't believe in them.
Yeah,
you should just join the Rams organization. You get one off every year.
Yeah, I'm just gonna trade away all of our draft capital. And is it all worth it if they win the Super Bowl? Absolutely. Is it all worth it if they don't win the Super Bowl? I still think so. I mean, I'm sure that they made their money back tenfold. It's not like Matt Stafford's going to retire here, but the AFC, as competitive as it is going forward versus the NFC, the way that it is, and Stafford's going to be there next year. Do you see this as more of a must-win for the Rams or the Bengals?
It's definitely a must-win for the Rams. You and I talked about it last week, Shane, when Kalen wasn't here. But I kind of brought up to the 2015 Jays.
Yeah.
We went all in and you lost. But as a Jays fan, you can't be upset about that. As a Rams fan, you cannot be upset about that.
Well, luckily for the Rams, they don't really have a lot of fans.
That's true. They're all in San Francisco. But yeah, no, I don't think you can be upset as a fan. And but if they do lose, I think their shelf life is one more year. And that's kind of where it's got to go. They're built to win now. And I think as far as the Bengals go, they're going to re-sign Burrow. They're going to find a way to make Chase still be there. The defense is getting better. And I think, Bates is the safety. I think he's the one that's really getting paid. And Hendrickson. So that defense, there's not a lot of money on that defense. So that's the one thing that's going to hold them over for a while. They got to strip that O-line, but you can do that through the draft. You can get starting guards in the 30s.
Well, and this coming draft is pretty loaded for O-linemen. And if you do your due diligence, you can find an offensive lineman in every draft because all you're looking for is size. You can teach some of the other stuff.
So I think for right now, the Rams have to win now because they're going to get dismantled after next year.
So the
we're saying that it's okay for the Bengals to lose.
Yeah, of course.
They have a stud at quarterback. They have a stud leader. They have tools all around him that are young. And like we talked about last week, they have at least 3 or 4 more years before they start paying all these guys.
Yeah.
So they have their shelf life is longer than what the Rams is. So if they were to not win, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But I think the Rams have to win. Yes.
Yeah. So my rebuttal to that, and then we'll let Kalen talk because I'm taking his time here for a second. If you were the AFC right now, or you're going into the AFC, and you lose this game next year, there's absolutely no assurance that you're even making the playoffs. I mean, well, probably with the division the way it is, the Bengals are probably making the playoffs next year. But I mean, you have to go through Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, potentially Justin Herbert. There's a lot of talent on the AFC side here. I mean, as much as we chirp the Titans, I mean, the Titans are going to be hanging around. The Colts are probably going to figure something out at quarterback. There's a lot of loaded rosters in the AFC. Whereas on the NFC side,
They're
I
old.
think that, yeah, I mean,
the NFC's old is what it is.
It's in a point of transition. And I mean, who are you worried about in the NFC right now as far as quarterbacks go? I guess you're worried about Aaron Rodgers, provided he stays with the Packers. But they've only proven time again that in the playoffs it's not going to happen for them. So as much as, yeah, you're not excusing a loss on either side, I think that it's more likely that the Rams are in the Super Bowl again next year than Cincinnati's in the Super Bowl next year.
On a complete side note, to cut you off, Kayla, I just want to lose my thought. Did you see Kyler Murray took everything Arizona off his Instagram profile?
No.
Yeah.
Unfollowed everything, deleted everything. The only thing that's showing recent is him in his Pro Bowl jersey where you can't see the logo on the helmet. So,
oh, damn.
Crazy. Yeah. Don't know what's going on there, but he's due for a contract here. He's with Oregon. He's going to the 4th year, right? So they're going to be signing him to the 4th
year. Yeah, they extend him this year if they're going to do it. So,
yeah.
Bengals, are they going to be in trouble if they don't win? I think that we look at a great example is a team like the Rams. They made the Super Bowl. They didn't win it, and a lot of people want to put that blame on Jared Goff. And what did? They went out and they answered that question, and they got Matthew Stafford. If a team can be so good, you look at the Bears when they went up against Indy back in the day. They had an amazing defense. They can get you to the point to the Super Bowl, but they're not going to get you over the hump if you don't have a quarterback. So I think the Bengals have their answer right now. They got 2 wide receivers that are under contract for some time, and then they've got Tyler Boyd, who's going to become for contract in a couple of years. They can invest, like we talked about. They got $150 million. They got a lot of money they can invest in the defensive side of the ball. So this is a team that's going to hang around for a while. Like we talk about, can they get Justin Herbert? I don't think that he's the one who's going to be. I have to go through Burrow. It's not he has to go through Herbert, because I look at the teams and I think that Cincinnati's a far better team right now and going forward, most likely with the cap structure than the Chargers.
Well, yeah, and I don't disagree with that at all. But what I'm saying is there's more competition in the way of Burrow to get there again, as opposed to,
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
As opposed to the Rams. And look, one thing and this is the thing that worries me about the Bengals, because everything is going in their favor. They were in such a hot streak. I'm worried about the bye week. I'm worried that their hot streak comes to an end because they're not in routine anymore. Media day is tonight. These guys aren't used to being out at a ballroom, going through the conference rooms on a Monday night. It's going to mess up the practice schedule a little bit because they're not going to practice at 6 a.m. tomorrow or 7 a.m. tomorrow like they normally would.
They're not going to practice in a blizzard because Cincinnati refused to have an indoor practice facility.
Yeah. And I mean, the Rams are Stafford's sitting at home and on his couch, chilling, probably watching the Jayhawks beat the Longhorns tonight.
I think you're going to say watching us. That's where I thought this was going.
Well, hey, it's only like 4 o'clock there, right? 5 o'clock. He's probably having dinner right now.
Think he has a bangarang with dinner?
I sure hope so. I mean, it'd be weird if he didn't. It would be kind of disrespectful. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I worry about that. But at the same time, both teams' coaches suck, and one of these coaches is gonna have to win. So,
what? You don't like Sean McVay?
No, I think that they both coach their way out of stupid. Like the offensive coach that thinks that his cute play that he sat up all night drawing, that's gonna automatically pick up a 3rd down when you could have just run an end around or whatever. I mean, there's so many different things. Look at a coach.
Do you say you could have ran an end around?
Yeah, why not?
Man, how old are you?
What do you want to call it?
I mean, the play in general.
You make it sound like an end around like an average play on 4th and 1.
Yeah,
or 3rd and 1.
No, it's
that is not if someone
only in the offensive Kansas City that he doesn't like.
Yeah, exactly. Only Tyreek Hill runs that play.
It's a 3rd and 3.
Steve Samuel and AJ Brown style plays.
No, the Steelers run all the time with Chase Claypool, man. It just makes way more sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I just don't get it. I don't know why you would run a screen pass without any blockers on 3rd down. That doesn't seem like smart football. It's like putting your 3rd string tight end under center and trying to get him to pitch it to the backup running back. Doesn't make a lot of sense. This is why the Saints decided not to hire Bellamy. It came down to Dennis Allen or Bellamy. And they're like, well, Bellamy stinks. We should probably go with Dennis Allen.
Dennis Allen had Ian Book at quarterback, and they didn't get spanked.
Yeah,
and that was bad.
Yeah, I think his first throw of the game was pick 6.
I've been there before.
Yeah, so I read a pretty funny comment about the Bengals screen game and how it never throws defensive players off because they're so bad at the pass attack or the pass rush that everything feels like a screen game to them, right? Now, but one thing I did remember in the championship game, they talked about how Burrow doesn't write anything down. I thought that's still really, really crazy for a kid who apparently has like photogenic memory or whatever. But to give that kind of talent 2 weeks to like
Mike Ross is playing quarterback.
Yeah, I was about to say that, Shane. You beat me to it, you son of a bitch.
But to have that kind of talent that's playing quarterback and to give 2 weeks for him to prep against a team like the Rams, I think that's a huge advantage. Like you talk about the bye week, that's huge, I think, for them. Also, they don't have to worry about getting jet lag. I just happened to look when you're talking about coming off the bye week. I wanted to see what they did off of their bye week this year, and the first game was in Vegas, so they had to travel for it. They ended up pounding Vegas anyway. We know that. So that extra have the week to deal with jet lag and stuff. I think that's going to help them. I think that this might be like a team like Jalen Ramsey acted a fool last game a few times, and he's acted a fool a few times this season and started like going at his teammates and stuff. This might be the game where he does something stupid to really hurt his team in the limelight,
Look, somebody this weekend definitely did something stupid to hurt their team, and we'll probably get into that a little bit later in the back half here.
But what happens in Vegas did not stay in Vegas. That's all I'm going to say.
No. It seems like what continues to happen in Vegas probably makes it that the Raiders need to move out of there. But yeah, man, I don't know what to think of that. While they're still there, I mean, Vegas is the home of gambling. I pulled down some value picks and some props that you guys need to hammer early. So remember who screwed us out of our boost last week? Cam Akers, because he was hurt. Do you know what the rushing total is for Sony Michel in this game?
No.
20.5.
Take it.
Yeah, boom, over. Go ahead and grab that over. What else did I have here? Oh, and I mean, I also have the under in the game, but I mean, we already are on that. So big ones that I liked. T. Higgins to lead the game in scrimmage yards.
Oh, wow.
Plus 800.
That's a big, wow. You didn't take anything above 7, right?
Yeah. So look, I mean, I don't think that T. Higgins is the favorite, nor do I think that it makes the most sense. But Higgins,
$5 on that's $35.
Yeah. I mean, T. Higgins can definitely go off, so that makes sense to me. Joe Burrow to lose a fumble is plus 355. Now, with the offensive line that they have, Aaron Donald's a man possessed. Von Miller's there. Leonard Floyd is there. They have a lot of crazy pass rushers. Is it likely that he loses or drops the ball at some point? Yes. Does he necessarily lose the fumble? We'll see. But again, sprinkle $10 on that thing, and you're getting a return, and you're making a little bit of money throughout this thing so far. Now here's one that I love. The first penalty of the game, a false start. Plus 475. So I'm hoping that the Bengals get the opening kickoff. So that shaky offensive line gets out there. Aaron Donald starts growling, and then someone moves. And then that's a false start. Boom. I'm putting $20 on that thing. There we go. I mean, there's an easy $100 that I just made before the game has even taken an official snap. So
what's the kickoff to not be a touchback? Because that was our go-to last year. That brought the most stress into my life last year.
Yeah. So to not be a touchback was 152, something like that. So I mean, you're still getting plus money on it. So you're in.
Last year was +2, so that's why we jumped all over it.
Yeah. So you're getting what you need out of that. Two other ones that I was into, the over 2.5 on players to throw a completion in the game. So maybe Joe Burrow gets crushed, or maybe someone runs a trick play, but we're looking at plus 300 if a third player completes a pass in the game. And then either team, one or the other, to not punt in the game, plus 750. So at this point, like, look,
shoot out Super Bowl.
Yeah, I went deep into this thing and I figured, how can I hedge an under? And if this thing's going to be a shootout, I don't want to see any punts. and I want there to be a little bit of money flowing back into me from CoolBet. How do you guys feel about the false start? Like I'm all over that.
I like the false start. I actually like the T. Higgins a lot.
Yeah,
because they're gonna do what they can to keep Chase locked up. And T. Higgins ate last week.
Yeah.
He was the reason they moved the chains. He was the reason they moved the ball. So I like that one a lot, especially the plus 700.
Yeah.
And the false start. And then, of course, I'm always going to take that opening kickoff. And you got to return the first kick, right? That's just the rule.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense.
It's plus money, and like everybody wants that Devin Hester moment.
Yeah, and the other guy, yeah, exactly. The other guy that I would be targeting, and like, it kind of depends on what's going to happen here. So I don't know if Azama's going to play. I don't know if Higbee's going to play. I don't know if Akers is going to play. But Kendall Blanton is a guy that you might want to look at for receiving yards.
What was it at?
They didn't even have it listed. Yeah.
Oh, so it's got to be low.
Yeah, it's got to be low.
The way he played last week and the week before against Tampa, he got in the red zone and got some looks.
Yeah,
like,
so
him and a touchdown would be probably amazing odds.
Yeah, I think that you could probably find a pretty good odd for him for a touchdown. Or, I mean, his odds for leading the game in scrimmage yards, which I think is unlikely, was
not happening.
Was like in the plus like 2,500. So
throw $1 on that bad boy and just see what happens.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, just take your money and spread it around. I mean, this is a bingo game. Just spread it around the board, boys. Get the bingo dabber out and enjoy a little bit of fun. I don't know the injury status of those guys, and I think that given the fact that there hasn't been a whole lot of like press about it, I would imagine that they're all going to attempt to give it a go. I don't think they're going to rule anybody out until the actual game day. So you might have to make this Blanton pick a game day pick. But I think it's time. Like, I've fed you guys a little bit of information. I gave you the Vegas inside lines. I gave you what we needed. How are we gonna break this 3-way tie? Did you guys like what are we picking the game? Are we picking the over, and are we picking like the over under, and we're picking a prop, or what do you guys want to do? Because I mean, I don't want to make the decision for you because it's I am back-to-back champion.
I'd end with that, eh? No, yeah, I like what you're saying there. I like that. Pick the game. You talking about the spread? Is that what you want to pick? Or they're gonna.
I think you probably pick the game at like just straight up, and then whether you think it's going to be over or under.
Okay.
Or you could pick the score, whatever you prefer, and then just pick a prop that is out there.
All right. Now, because I'm talking now, does it mean I get to be the first one to pick then?
Well, I think.
Or do we have to give this 24 hours and then come together?
Look, I think we can make this thing on Thursday, and we could probably give that to Josh, and he can make a little graphic for it. But I think ultimately, it's just time to start wrapping your heads around it. We haven't even broke it to Rick. I don't even know if Rick knows that he's tied with you guys. So
I think he does.
Well, there you go. I mean, whatever we're doing there, it's just time to time to embrace it. I don't know what happened to Chad, but is he still there? No, I don't know if he's still there. All right. Well, maybe Chad had one too many bangerangs and he had to go take a pee-pee. But perfect time to talk about MJ's Roadhouse over there in Lucan. We went out there last Wednesday.
Nice in the storm.
Yeah, you know what? Nice little spot. Hey, when it's wing night, it's wing night. You get out there, you enjoy it. Wings were delicious. Fries were amazing. Nice little spot. They had the Black Donnelly Brewery was all over the place. Had a lager. Liam had an IPA. It was enjoyable. We had a great time. We will definitely share some of the specials that they have when we get a little bit closer. But if I were you, and after you're done the show watching us on Sunday, I'd probably head over to MJ's Roadhouse and enjoy a pint or two.
Yeah.
Might as well stick around for the game and watch that first penalty be a false start.
Yeah. That's right beside the arena. I can't wait till like everything's back to normal and go. There's some fun games that happen, and that's that Lucan Arena, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got kicked out of a couple games in that arena. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
it's definitely got a couple 5 and a 5-10 in the game there. So
Hey, look, that arena is straight out of Letterkenny, and I think that it would be a great time for us to go down there and just enjoy a Black Donnelly lager, and we could probably convince the guys at MJ's to start carrying Bangarang so that we can enjoy ourselves there. But look, Chad, you're back. I figured that you might have to go take a pee.
No, I had to go blow my nose if you needed to know. So
Gotcha.
Just trying to be a polite guy, so I don't have to hear that.
I didn't realize that it was snowing, but that is quite all right. We can enjoy that. This next this next question is going to be pretty much for Kalen, and then we'll circle back. We'll do a little bit of, but we got the second half of the hockey season beginning. We don't get deep into hockey yet. But I looked at the Eastern Conference, and the Eastern Conference, I think that the playoffs are locked up.
Yeah.
I mean, no one's, your position might move, you might move around a little bit, but in the West, if you were the Oilers, the Sharks, the Stars, the Canucks, or the Jets, which one of those teams can actually make a push for this wild card spot?
The Oilers. I mean, I hate to say it. I mean, he's a goofball, but Evander Kane, that him being there, that's huge. Right? He scored, I think he's back-to-back games he scored goals in.
Yeah, and I mean, he's been good, and look, I think that the All-Star break is a good time to reset for them. They made some moves. Whether they make a move at goalie or not, yet to be seen. I think Marc-Andre Fleury would be an awesome fit for them. I'm just not 100% sure if that's in the cards for what Chicago wants. I don't know what the Oilers would be willing to pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
But I did bet on your Devils tonight. I got the Devils.
They're tied right now.
I got the Devils money line.
Man, is that because after the All-Star game and after seeing Jack Hughes, who probably got robbed of the MVP?
Well, I'm not going to pretend like I watched either one of the All-Star games.
You didn't watch any of the highlights either? I was going to ask you about the Zegras goal. Did you get the opportunity to see that, the blindfolded one?
Yeah, and I mean...
So now, maybe I'm devil's advocate here. I don't want to be the guy that's pissing on the parade here at all, but was the puck attached to the stick from Velcro, or is that just me? It sure seemed like it was stuck to the stick the whole time until he like actually, snapped it a bit.
I don't know. I mean, if it was attached by Velcro, that would have been tough to get it off the stick to flick it in, but I
think it wasn't Velcro, maybe some sort of sticky thing, but it just felt like it was always on its side. It didn't feel like it was actually coasting with the stick. You know what I mean?
I think that he just had an illegal stick that you wouldn't normally be able to use in a game, and he knew what to do with it. And an absolute travesty that guy didn't win. But look, that's not here or there. What I will say, and Chad, again, I'm not 100% sure if you're going to recognize this name or not. We all got a win on the weekend because Mr. Joe West retired from umping baseball.
Oh, can we get a round of applause? Probably one of the worst umps that the MLB has had in the last decade. Oh my, 20 years. When I say decade, this guy blew calls. The fact that they're a union is the only reason he kept his job for as long as he did. Yeah. He had one of the worst grading reports for an ump. He was in players' faces all the time. He threw, I don't know who the manager, I think it was the Cubs. He threw him out of the ball diamond from the clubhouse when last year or 2 years ago when there was no fans in the stands during the 1-9. Like, this is the kind of guy we're talking about.
This is the guy. I mean, the saying was invented, get off your knees, ump, you're blowing the game. This guy is the guy that's why this was invented. It's a big thing for us. Big thing for baseball fans. Unfortunately for baseball fans, it looks like the baseball season might be delayed a little bit here. There's in a lockout. It's amazing to me how many people don't realize about the lockout. Mm-hmm. But another thing that amazed me, and I don't understand why these guys are coming out and talking about this, but Jason McCourty came out and was talking about how the Browns were tanking in 2017 and how they how do you ever look at another guy in a locker room again after that? And if you were on the team, dude, like how did you let that happen? If you're a leader on that team, you're on the defense. The coaches can only do so much. You guys are the ones playing.
Oh, no, I totally agree. Well, then Hugh Jackson comes out and backtracks and says that, no, he wasn't getting a pay under the table kind of thing, right? But like Jason McCourty saying, that we weren't trying to win. I mean, it was just the play calls weren't being called, or were you guys actually legitimately not trying to win? Are you outing your entire teammates now, or is it just yourself that was trying? Like, what are you trying to say here, right? You might want to go delve a little bit further in that comment, right?
Right. Chad, what do you think about something like that? We're talking about football again.
Yeah, no, I caught the name of Cody. I was like, oh, it's football again. I care. It's the Cleveland Browns. Let's just start with that. So who actually knows? They're a fucking dumpster fire. They've been forever. But yeah, looking down the locker room, like, yeah, you can call plays that say we're not going to win this game. But there is such thing as audibles on offense and defense. And as a leader of the defense, like even actually more than the offense, I feel like your pride has to kick in.
Yeah.
On offense, like a quarterback can make a bad read, the guy can fumble a ball, like mistakes can happen. Even if you're trying to win, if you do audible. On defense, like your only job is to stop someone from scoring. So you're pretty much coming saying, yeah, we let them score on purpose. And if that is true, like I have no respect for anyone that played on that defense. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, I mean, they suck.
Well, their team did suck, first off. But to sit there and just let people score, I don't even respect as a man.
Yeah.
And
shit. Chad's going after their manhood.
If you want to come on this show and they play that team and that's the true facts, as a man, I have no respect for you. You just let someone score on you and let them walk up and down the field on you so you get a couple extra bucks. Nah, man, fuck you. Your fan base pays a lot of money to be a fan of yours. Those Browns faithful have spent a lot of money in a long time to watch you guys suck.
Yeah.
So for you to come out and say you let that happen, you're fucking shitty dudes.
Now, if true though, does that mean it was for Baker, right? They shelled out for Baker.
Yeah. Well, how's that worked out for them?
Well, what I'm saying is,
I'm a Baker fan.
They were
investing. I got to fight about it last year.
Yeah,
about
but
Baker
they were investing
Dimes.
in this kid even before he got to the NFL. So it almost kind of we talked about how the Browns have been searching for that quarterback forever. They can't be put back in limbo again, and they're not a team that's high enough to draft a quarterback that's going to change the franchise. So are they going to get handcuffed to Baker because that's the best that's available and that's what they can take and they know what they know, right? If they're already paying out for the kid before he gets there, they've signed up for him. He's doing these commercials with the Brown Stadium. I know that doesn't really mean much, but I just feel like he's the face of the franchise, and especially after trading OBJ.
Like I understand the whole you wanting the best player available, and the Jacksonville they got Trevor Lawrence, and if I was in the running at Trevor Lawrence, there's nothing worse when you see a team win in week 16. You're like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, the Lions did it.
Yeah, and I know the Lions did it, but you got to respect those players too. As much as it sucks, as I said, as a man, I couldn't let someone fucking score on my team.
Man,
but as a coach, I couldn't let that happen.
Man or woman, Chad. Man or woman. We don't have to. Sorry. You don't have to get super specific here.
My bad. Sorry. Stop all those pronouns.
Oh God. Well, we're not going to get into that conversation. How about the Senior Bowl class? How underwhelming they were.
Yeah. I didn't really. That's the game that of all that I didn't watch any of that at all. So you can certainly tell me how. If anybody was there to keep an eye on coming into this draft class, tell me now.
So I watched more of the practices than the actual game itself, or not the actual physical what was on the NFL Network. They had the walkthroughs, they had the different things. Willis from Liberty, I mean, he looks like he's got all the raw ability. He needs to find the right coach to mold what he can do and to harness in his skills. Pickett, I think, has solidified himself as the number one quarterback. I don't think that's going to change. I don't think that there's anything that can happen short of Kenny Pickett hanging out with Alvin Kamara on weekends. That's the only way he's not the first quarterback taken.
Are you worried about the small hands thing?
I don't know. Baker said he has small hands his whole life and he was fine. So
yeah, I mean,
well, did you see that tweet that Burrow said? He said, "Everybody pray for me." I just got told the ball's going to keep falling out of my arms at the pro level.
Yeah, I mean, we were, Kaylin, I think you're gonna remember this reference, but we were always told small potatoes make the steak look bigger. So I think, that that's a non-issue. I mean, if you can grip the football, you can grip the football. The guy that probably did the most work for himself was Ritter from Cincinnati. Proved himself against some higher level of competition. He looks the part. He's just a little bit small. I think you could probably put on a little bit of weight in the offseason and have absolutely no problem with it. I doubt that he's a week 1, season 1 starter, but if you can give him the next, call it 18 months, I guess, like 18 months from year 2 right now, you can give him the next 18 months to put on some weight. And as long as he does not lose his ability to move around the pocket, I think that he's in good shape. But I mean, Chad has done far more coaching and scouting, so like he would probably be the better person to break that stuff down.
Yeah, like I said, Malik Willis, like his upside is huge. But it's that kind of that risk reward kind of bang for your buck kind of thing where you can get him what's going to cost you. You got to make sure on him that you get the 5th-year option. That's what it comes down to.
Right.
I don't care who you are, where you pick him. If you're going to trade in from the 2nd round to get him in the 1st round, you need that 5th year. Ritter, yeah, I've been on him all year long. I'm all about him. I think he played pretty good. And all week at Nebraska, everything I read showed that he was doing all the right things. His size is the big thing that's going to hold him back. Like you're right, he needs to gain weight. That's the biggest thing. But yeah, like he can play. I think it's a late 1st round pick. Same kind of deal. You get that 5th year with him. And that's huge for all these quarterbacks. None of these quarterbacks are top 5 picks. And that's the thing that everybody keeps forgetting. Like we have a decent quarterback class, but no one's sexy. They're all going to be that like maybe top 12, maybe. But like that 15 to 30, I think a lot of movement's going to happen for just the reason of that 5th year. The guy that helped was the running back from Alabama, Robinson.
Yeah.
He had a huge week. He had a good game. He showed that I should be the first running back taken. And once again, that's just credit to Alabama and the way they scout because no one ever heard of this kid until literally the SEC championship game.
Yeah, I still think that the kid from Texas A&M, Spiller, is going to be the first running back taken, but I understand why Robinson makes sense. I mean, with the production that all the Alabama running backs have had, and he does fit the bill, and he's a big body, and he doesn't have a lot of tread on the tires. Or he doesn't have a lot of wear on the tread on the tires. Because he sat behind these guys, and he got to see practice habits of Josh Jacobs, Najee Harris, Damian Harris for the Patriots. I mean, this guy has seen some pretty strong practice habits, and I mean, iron sharpens iron.
He can catch the football, and I think that's the big thing that like people don't realize with Alabama running backs because they're such a power-based offense.
Yeah.
But if you watch him play the SEC, he caught the ball and he moved phenomenal in the backfield. And I think that's what guys are forgetting about. And I think that's what makes him having a big Senior Bowl week. I think that's what will help him out down the road. I think he could be that first running back taken. If not, he will definitely be the second.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. And, last question, then we're going to sign off and we'll pick this thing back up on Thursday.
I want to talk about Willis.
Okay. Go ahead.
I do think that he, I you've kind of like hyped him a little bit. Are you still, is that who you want to land in Pittsburgh if there was a quarterback to be drafted?
Right now, if I had to guess, I'm going to say that the Steelers do not draft a quarterback.
But I mean, you said personally, I remember in the past that you had mentioned you like this kid. Is this who, if they're going to draft a quarterback, if there's a quarterback to be drafted, is this who you would want them to pick?
No, like at this point, I would say that I would be comfortable with Ritter more than anybody.
Yeah.
Either Ritter or Carroll. And Carroll's going to be the forgotten guy, and because of his ankle sprain, he might fall out of the first round, which is going to make him even more attractive. But like,
it's so weird. It's like the kid has such a high ceiling and such like it's not even a low floor. Like I saw that the best comparison I saw was his floor is Tyrod Taylor, but his ceiling is Josh Allen. And to me, that is like the best comparison that you could really have with this kid. Those are both players that have rocket arms. One just is still a little inaccurate, and unfortunately, that's what's not giving him the chance to be that starter, that and a punctured lung. And the other one is fixed his inaccuracies and taking it to the next level. So I am excited for the kid, and that's the best comparison. It's interesting where he lands up because if he gets put on a squad that he gets to lean on a lot, like Josh Allen did, I think he can really fly.
I can tell you right now, if it gets to pick 20 and Matt Carroll's still on the board, the Lions are trading up everything to get him.
Yeah, and that makes
I'm going to call that right now. Like, if he's there at 20, the Lions pick at, I forget what they pick in the 20s. They have the Rams. I guess they have the Rams pick. And they have the top second round pick. They're trading to make that happen. Like, why wouldn't you? If Cardinals are at 20, I don't see him going past 20 or 21.
Yeah, and the scary part about the draft is going to be, and I mean, the draft is in April, so we're going to talk about this ad nauseum, but there's so many good defensive players and offensive linemen in the top 25 that might be the reason that there's a run on quarterbacks at the end, and teams are going to trade out, and maybe a team like the Rams. Well, I guess the Rams have already moved on their first round pick, but maybe a team like the Bengals trade with whoever. The Saints. Let the Saints come back in. And I mean, they're not going to let the Steelers come back in, or the Ravens, who are probably the other team in the division looking for a quarterback. But you don't think so?
I just think it's funny. You always take every opportunity you can to take a shot at somebody in your division when you can.
Yeah, no, I can't help myself. But yeah, that'll be interesting for the draft. Last question. Does Alvin Kamara play for the New Orleans Saints in this upcoming season?
Well, he might be on the meme machine. He's facing 5 years, so I got that tweet during our show. So
yeah, I mean, look, if you ask Kalen, he probably it wasn't a big kick. It was just a little kick.
We haven't seen the footage. All we know is what's been said, and then was said was or what the footage was.
He barely touched her.
Footage.
Look, I gave this scenario to somebody at work today, and they were like, "No, you're crazy." But we all know where Alvin Kamara went to college. We all know when he was most successful in the NFL is when he had a dedicated number one runner, and he filled in, and he's on the field to draw the coverage so that the running back can do a little bit better. Plus, he can pick up the scrimmage yards in many different ways. I think that it would make a lot of sense that Alvin Kamara ends up with the Tennessee Titans if he gets cut. Not for cap reasons, because, I mean, he's going to come on one of those Kareem Hunt deals, but because of where he's been and where he comes from, that makes sense to me. He's not a number one running back. He's not the guy that you want pounding between the tackles, but he's the guy that you want out in the field while your guys pounding between the tackles, like they did when they had Ingram and Kamara. That's when their offense was most successful. I think Dennis Allen doesn't realize what he has signed up for now. He's not going to have Drew Brees.
Do you think, though, the new Texans?
Well, if you remember back, I mean, we're not going to dig super deep into this, but if you remember, I mean, it's your division, so you would know. Like, the New Orleans Saints were a joke until about 2009.
They're called the Aints.
Yeah.
Remember that? Was it the field goal miss that they had that they screwed up? That was they were famous for before that?
The Aints and the Yucks.
Yeah.
They
great division.
I mean, the best quarterback in Saints history before Drew Brees got there was Aaron Brooks.
No, Archie Manning was there.
Man, we're talking about the 60s. We weren't even born then. Stop it. You got to stop.
You said history. You didn't say the 2000s.
Yo, now you're a history major, motherfucker? Yeah. Enough.
It's the only class I ever went to.
Yeah, look.
Do you want to know why? Because if you learn it on Monday, the rest of the week, history didn't change. You only had to show up once a week.
I was so concerned for your answer. It's like Liam, please have this button ready. Like, we might need to drop this thing. Anyway, let's get out of here before Chad says something stupid. Enjoy your Bangarang. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my pink lemonade. Cheers, boys. We'll pick this thing up on